Welcome back to Stop the Clock with Brad. Thanks for finding the channel. Hope you've been enjoying the episodes. I appreciate all the thumbs up, the comments, and all you new subscribers. If you're liking what you see, please subscribe. I want to talk to you about one of the biggest things I hear when I talk about the carnivore diet. That's the cost. It's not how much protein you eat. It's not that you don't eat vegetables. It's like, how do you afford it? You know, where we are right now, currently, this is what, June of 2023. Inflation is still up. Meat prices are still expensive. And so cost is a concern when it comes to buying meat. Now, we've talked in the past that from everything that I've read, different podcasts, books I've listened to, there's not a big difference between the grass-fed, grain-finished, and just your normal beef. That should not be a barrier to starting the carnivore diet. If we can get to the point where we're more worried about the hormones that are in our meat versus the amount of people dying of diabetes and heart attacks, that'll be a wonderful day to be able to have the luxury of having that conversation. So the big missile that I have, the big secret weapon, I think that's really underappreciated in the carnivore space, because you can't walk into any grocery store and find it on the shelf. They do keep it in the freezer in the back if you ask for it. Some butchers have it, most do not. My local Publix, where I buy it, I compete with a guy to get it who buys it to feed, guess what? His dogs. He's feeding his dogs with it. And I'm getting it, I'm feeding my family. And what is that? It is beef heart. And not the liver. The liver is great, but that's pretty widely accepted. You know, we've been eating liver for generations. My parents forced it down my throat when I was a kid. But beef heart is something that I discovered, and the great thing about it is the cost. This is what a cow's heart looks like. This is 2 of them in here. So I bought this for $30.34. This is 8.5 pounds. I paid $3.59 a pound for this. When's the last time you bought any ground beef for $3.59? Right, it was probably like back in the late 90s, early 2000s. When have you bought any type of good quality cut of meat for $3.59? We haven't in a long, long time. So I'm going to show you how to prepare this. What I do with it most of the time, I just grind it up myself. Now, people that I'll turn this on to, they'll grind it for you right there at the meat department in your grocery store. If they have it, you just get them. Tell them to grind it for you, wrap it up in 1 pound packages. That's what I do with mine. I grind mine, weigh it out, and use my little machine to suck all the air out of it. I make 1 pound containers of it, and then when it comes time to use it, that's what I cook with. This is what I use for ground beef most of the time. I've made burgers with it. I've made meatloaf with it, meatballs with it, spaghetti meat. You know, when you're making spaghetti for your family. Anything you can do with ground beef, you use with heart. Heart's not a weird muscle like the liver. The liver cleans things, processes things, which gives it that unique taste. Heart is just a muscle like anything else with blood flowing through it, like the brisket, like any other part of the cow, so it doesn't have a strange taste because it's just another cow muscle with the blood flowing through it. That's why it tastes good. But the idea of it freaks some people out. So you've got to get them to try it without knowing what they're eating. With my kids, I still can't tell them. If I tell my wife that I've made it with beef heart, even though she's ate it before and likes it, she still has a mental hurdle she has to go through because she's eating beef heart. But this is somebody that'll eat liver like all day long. It's a mental thing, nothing else. So let's take a look and get our hands dirty playing with this beef heart. What do you say? So here's a beef heart in all of her glory. You see she opens up. If you look on the outside, all the fat, the marbling, this thing's wonderful. It's great for the carnivore diet, keto. It's about 70-30 protein and fat, 60-40 on some of them. The only real maintenance you need to do, you look and you see these kind of ventricle strings right here. They're hard to chew. So you just come in you start trimming these little babies off. That's the only really prep you have to do. See, they're up under here. Get those off. These big ones over here. And I you know, I miss some of them sometimes. And if there's just one, you don't really notice it, especially if you grind it up, because when you grind up into ground beef, you don't see it. But then sometimes I will, like there's 2 in each pack. So this one I'm going to grind up into ground beef. And then the other one, making wings tonight. And so these things are great for smoking because they're a little tough to start out with. So you do them low and slow, cook them till about 120 or so. You know, you don't want to overcook them, they'll dry out. 120, let them rest. They're great. The best thing I can compare it to is kind of like a ribeye type feel, because it has the extra fat and it tastes like a steak. So then when you're done, you can do a couple things. If you're going to cook it, you see where it kind of separates here. You just come through and you can have it out. So now you've got this half and this half. If you want to, this little part of the heart here, this can fold out. So now you see these are becoming like things you can grill. It's thinner. This is a leaner piece for someone. Then if you're going to wind up grinding it, you just wind up, if you've got like a grinder stand, like ours is a KitchenAid mixer attachment, you just wind up going through, slicing them about this level. And then they wind up feeding right through there perfectly. You see how pretty this is? Has that nice little bit of fat running on the outside. And this is all just delicious protein right here. So that's the prep piece of it. So this is some beef heart that I ground previously. See, it looks just like ground beef. And then this is a hamburger that I made with it. No extra fillers or anything. I just put salt, pepper, and garlic, and I made a hamburger out of it on the stovetop. And the great thing about this organ meat is higher in nutrients. So beef heart is full of folate, riboflavin, B12, all the B vitamins, which we know are great for energy and great for our overall health, plus copper. So it's more nutrient dense than just normal ground beef. So not only is it, you know, tasty, but it's better for you, especially if you're looking for more energy. These B vitamins can do it. So if you're eating this for dinner, that kind of, you know, lull you get sometimes in the evening, even if you're eating right and exercising, we can get tired. This can kind of give you a little bit of a bolt, because you see people, they get vitamin B, you know, eat injections and IVs. Everybody wants to take it, but this is a way to get it naturally, not synthetically. So I really urge you to go out and try this. I know it sounds weird. There's not a lot of videos about it. I was the first person that I ever knew that ate it. But anyone that I've introduced it to and told them about beef heart and they tried it, they liked it. No one has come back and said, oh, that was good, or it tasted weird, or tasted strange. Instead, they've thanked me for introducing them to it. So go out there, be bold, get you some beef heart this weekend, cook it up. Just treat it like any type of ground beef or steak, because that's exactly what it is. So thanks for watching. Again, if you like the channel, please subscribe, like this video, and remember, aging is a choice.